video, another live. Let's have a quick conversation about what's going on in the world financially and why so many people are hurting financially. That's the kicker. Why are so many people hurting financially? Let's have this quick talk, guys. Let me see if I can get all my situation set up. But I want to talk about why are people hurting so much financially and how you can prepare yourself right now. Guys, if you're here, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear me and my audio is coming through good. So every now and then, I like to come on here and do these lives to help you guys and to say, okay, what should we be thinking about? Listen, today is a Sunday. And so we're about to go into another week, another work week, another time when we're going to be heading off to work, making a paycheck, making money. But I just want to give you guys this warning and give you guys this talk about why so many people seem like they're hurting so much with their personal finances right now. I mean, let's think about it. Well, as you come in here, guys, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear me. And let me see how to figure out how to do this thing, guys. Let's see here. All right. So, cool. All right. And let me know where you're coming from, guys. Where are you checking in from? What city and state, country are you in? And we're going to have a conversation today, guys. Loud and clear. Thank you. I appreciate you. Glad you can hear me. Checking in from Rockford, Illinois. Rockford, Illinois. Rockford. Is that the Quad Cities? Hey, Jody, welcome here from Houston. H-Town in the house. Muskegon, Michigan. Hey, appreciate you, Beretta. Thank you for being here. Brasilia is in the house. Good, Wilson. Jeff is from San Diego. I bet it's really nice out there in San Diego, right? March in San Diego is probably beautiful. But let's see, Huntsville, Alabama. Okay, we got a lot of Army stuff in Huntsville, Alabama. So it's good to have you guys, and I appreciate you being here. I do like to go lives on Sundays sometimes, do lives on Sundays sometimes because a lot of people can't catch lives throughout the week or on a Saturday morning and stuff like that. People work. So I think Sunday's a good afternoon is a good time to go live and have a money conversation, especially since we're going right back into the work week, right? So the thing is, why so many people right now? My warning to you, so many people right now seems like they're hurting financially. Whoa, Johannesburg, what's the word? Johannesburg, what's the word? Johannesburg, South Africa. That was an old song back in the 1980s, a rap song by a group called Stetsasonic. They said, what's the word? Johannesburg. Sorry, I'm an old school rap guy. Quad City is Rock Island. You're right. Okay, so let's see. Cancun on vacation, Tracy. I ain't mad at you. All right, so listen, guys. What's going on with money? Why are people hurting? Why do people feel like they're hurting so bad with money? Well, we know this first off the top, is we know that cost of living, especially rents, are really, really high in America. I'm talking in America now. And it might be elsewhere too. But rents are really, really high, right? People are having a hard time. I know some people who are having a hard time affording a place to live, a place to stay. So in a lot of places in America, guys, it feels like the economy is doing well, but then when people go to buy a property, not buy, but rent a property out, an apartment, small house, townhome, duplex, triplex, flat, whatever it may be, it's expensive, especially in some larger cities right now, guys. The cost of living is very, very high. I always tell people that, listen, if you think that you live in a city that's high cost of living, Boston, downtown Seattle or near downtown San Diego, right? It's very expensive. Manhattan, up in New York, other places in New York too, other boroughs, right? Brooklyn and Queens and parts of, wherever you may be. But the point is that no matter what city you're in, you may end up having to move to a different city, right? If you're a person that says, you know what, I cannot afford this, then you might consider relocating, right, to a different city and making sure that you can afford housing, because housing is super important, right? Housing is probably the most not probably, it is the largest expense that any of us will typically ever have is housing. So housing is crazy, right? That little bitty 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom apartment that was $900 a month or $1,000 a month 2 or 3 years ago, now it's $1,300 a month. It's $1,400 a month. People can't afford that. So people are hurting because of housing. They talked about inflation going down a few weeks ago. We got the inflation report, CPI and the core PCE inflation. And both of them said, oh, we're down around the 3% range. But what they don't tell you is that different pieces of that inflation are at different levels. So the 3.9 or 3.1% they tell us is an average. But if you look at housing in America, housing is still 5 and 6% inflation, still going up quite a bit, too much for a lot of people. So housing is a big piece of why so many people are hurting financially. Being able to afford the piece of property or the apartment they were affording last year or 2 or 3 years ago just can't happen right now. So we know that there's wealth inequality. We know that that's happening and taking place. Obviously, you got your haves, you got your have-nots. And guess what? The haves and have-nots, that gap is getting bigger and bigger, right? We want to, on this channel, I'm trying to help you guys say, listen, how do I not get stuck in the have-nots, right? If I have a family and I want my family to flourish 10 years from now, I don't want, listen, the gap is getting wider. The gap is getting wider. I guarantee you the gap between the haves and the have-nots is only going to get wider and wider and wider. Your main job is to figure out not just how you don't end up in the have-nots, but how does your family end up in the haves, right? That's the kicker, right? So because it's only going to get bigger, guys. The wealth gap is growing and it ain't slowing down. Now, the good thing right now that's happening, though, is unemployment is fairly low. But while unemployment is low, we have to remember about unemployment in America. The way they tally or figure unemployment is they don't figure the people that aren't looking for jobs. You're not in the equation if you're not looking for a job. If you're not actively seeking a job, you're not in the equation. So the unemployment rate, granted, it's been very, very low over the last 2 or 3 years. It's been very, very low. Historic lows at 3.4, 3.7, 3.6%. Very, very low. Lots of people working. Part of that was during the pandemic, obviously, there were certain incentives and so forth to get out there and work. But for the most part, it's been low. So we can't complain about that, right? But keep in mind how unemployment is figured. It's not figured just, they're 8% or we got 4% unemployment, so 4% of the people. No, it's only figured on people that are actively looking for employment. Somebody said, I'm up in San Francisco. Good to have you from San Francisco. Somebody said, especially in California, it's hard out here for a pimp. I hear you talking. I hear you screaming. Let's see, lack of patience. No one wants to work and wait. That's true. That's one of the reasons. So I think what it is in terms of why so many people are hurting financially is part of it is systemic, right? And when I say systemic, I mean the fact of, inflation had been high and it's still high in terms of rents and all that good stuff. But it's also a piece of personal responsibility too. So I don't want to fully take that away as well. We have, people just feel vulnerable right now in terms of financials. And I don't want to, there's a bunch of things I want to rap about. I put them here, but, even amongst people that have money, people that are making money, there's a figure out there that said, 60% of people making 6 figures in America still feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck. So it's not just people that are, down and out, not doing well, don't have a lot of money, part of the have-nots, but it's also people that seem like they're doing pretty well with money right now, right? But people have personal concerns. And I think I read a couple of places where one of the big concerns that a lot of people have and why they feel like they're hurting so much financially is because of debt. I don't know if you guys know this. I think some of you probably do know it, but individual debt right now in America is at an all-time high, right? More people have more debt right now in America than really ever before. So because debt is mounting up, and debt is mounting up because people are having to use their credit cards to pay for things and all that good stuff, But part of that is causing people to feel like they're hurting financially, right? Credit card debt right now is at an all-time high. And at the same time, interest rates on credit cards are over 20%, right? Auto loan, medical debt, it's all high, higher than it's ever been, right? All those things are sources of financial stress for a lot of people. And it just can't be denied. It can't be overlooked. So on this channel, I don't want to sit here and act like everybody's doing perfect. Everybody's doing well. You just got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? I do talk about personal responsibility, but I also understand that there are some systemic things that take place, right? Somebody left a comment the other day ago and said, what about racism, right? How does racism play into this whole thing? You always talk about, there was a long comment. They say, you always talk about this, but what about racism? And listen, guess what, guys? If you didn't notice, I'm black in America. So I understand the history of racism, right? I even understand the history of sexism, right? I understand the history of ageism, right? Where you treat somebody different because of their age, or you treat them worse because of their age, or you don't give them, you deny them certain things because of their age. Listen, I understand all those things, and I don't deny those things exist. I'm not a person that says, oh, there's no such thing as racism. Of course, I would never say that because I know too much about the history. I know too much about current conditions. I understand too much about systemic issues and problems. So I would never go there. But I will say that racism is not your fault, but you've got to find a way to take the responsibility to overcome it, to get past it, because you ain't changing racism, right? It's going to be there, period. Nothing you can do about racism. Nothing you can do about people treating you different because you're a woman versus a man. You can't change that. I tell you guys on this channel, you can only worry about the thing and do the things that you can do something about. Worry about the things that you can change and you can affect today, because you got to eat today. You got to pay rent, mortgage today. You got to get gas for your car today. So since you got to do all that today, you need to worry about, in terms of personal finances, what you can do about the things that you can do something about. Racism is out there. I get it. It happens. And it's in a lot of different places. My head is not buried in the sand. But I also want you to turn around and say, you know what? Racism is an issue that it's a disease that's not my disease, right? It's a disease of people who think a certain way, but that's not my thing. So what can I do to get my finances and my personal finances right? So when we're talking about why people are hurting financially, you can point at all the other things, because we know that inflation has been high, and it's tough to rent a property out right now because the rents are way high and they're still going up. And we know all that stuff exists, right? But our job is we got to find a way to get past those things, right? Yes, inflation's out there. Yes, racism's out there. Yes, you name it is out there. But what do we do? What can we do right now? So I'm looking at this thing and saying 2 things can be true. 10 things can be true. 20 things can be true all at the same time. It's not one or the other. It's not this fault or that fault, right? Yeah, that's out there, but how can we do something different about it? Yes, that's out there, but what are we doing? What are we focusing on? How are we behaving with money, right? That's the kicker, right? We know that wages are not keeping up in the last 30, 40 years, right? Not in the last necessarily few years, but last 30 to 40 years, wages haven't necessarily kept up with inflation, right? Especially some of those high inflation times that we've had in America. We know that's out there, right? We know that there's a perception of an instability in the workforce. Although, as I just said, that's a perception because unemployment, as it's measured, is right now is super duper low as it's measured. Super duper low. So sometimes the perception of instability causes us to have to feel a certain way. And so I say, warning to you guys. Why are so many people hurting financially? How can you prepare yourself now? Well, how are they hurting? Well, they're hurting for some of the outside forces. That's true. And they're hurting because of some of how we are perceiving and our own behaviors and actions too at the same time. I can't get on here and blame the economy on my problems with money, right? And I also can't get on here and say that the problems in the economy don't exist, because they do exist, right? Two things can be true at the same time. A lot of people right now, honestly, guys, even in America, which we say America is a land of hope, land of good and plenty, land of milk and honey, right? People are flocking to America. Now, there's a lot of reasons why they could be flocking to America. We know there's a big immigration issue going on right now in America. But at the same time, a lot of people feel a sense of, I think, hopelessness. Sort of like, and I talk to a lot of people, guys, about their money. And there's a lot of people that are hurting with their money. But what I try to tell people and show people is that you can only do what you can do. And the way you think is going to dictate your behavior. If you have a very negative outlook on the world, on money, on personal finances, on yourself, if you have a very negative outlook on you, who you are, what you can do, what you can't do, what's happened to you in the past, and if that's your outlook, it's hard for you to build wealth. It's hard for you to separate and be in the haves and not the have-nots, right? One of the reasons I think some people are hurting so much financially is because of their perception of the world, their attitude about themselves and what's going on around them, right? I think that's important. And a lot of times we don't talk about that in terms of how people feel about money. But I think people feel a certain way about money and get down and out and depressed, and because they have a sense of hopelessness that's not really driven by anything except their own thoughts and how they believe and how they perceive and how they think and what attitude they have, right? And that ultimately affects your behavior with money. Because if you have a sense of hopelessness about your personal finances, you're not going to try to do certain things that will help you turn around your personal financial situation, right? If you're hopeless and you don't have a real positive outlook in life about life or yourself, then who cares about a budget, right? Who cares about a budget? If you don't feel good about who you are or think that you can accomplish something, or you have any sense of belief, then who's worried about investing for the future? The first thing in your mind is, I might not be here. So if I might not be here 10 years from now, I'm going to spend all my money today. This is what people say and how people think. You would be surprised at how many people think like that, right? A lot of people think, well, why do I want to save money up and put something aside for my future? I may not live to be 55 years old. You have a negative outlook about money, about life, about yourself, about your future. So guess what? That's going to lead to hopelessness. That's going to make you feel like you're hurting financially. I've never seen somebody who was doing really well financially and making all these good decisions and still have a really, really poor attitude about themselves and about life, about money. So part of the reason that people are hurting with money is because of how they think, right? Your sense of hopelessness comes from the way you perceive what's taking place around you and the way you perceive the person in the mirror. Think about that for a second. That can lead to you feeling hopelessness about personal finances and feeling like you're hurting with personal finances, right? Let me see what we got here in the chat, guys. Smash the like button for me. We just pontificating about money, sending you guys sort of a little warning about money, about why people are hurting so much financially and what you should do to be preparing yourself right now. I said pontificating. Is that the right word? I don't know. Let's see here. Hey, Kazakhstan in the house. Let's see here. So that's the kicker, guys. You know, there's a lot of reasons. There's also, let me just dig into a few more things since we got you here. A lot of people, and don't get me wrong now, remember, I talked about the systemic stuff that we know is going on. But I also want to talk a little bit about us, right? A lot of people, they feel pressure. They feel pressure because of, frankly, advertising and marketing. That's for real. People feel pressure because of advertising and marketing. People don't, okay, so advertisers and people that advertise, they studied you and they studied me, right? They studied us. They have studied us to the point that they know how we're going to react to certain things. They know that if they put a sandwich that's bustling over with ketchup going here and mustard going over here, beef in the middle, steam coming off of it, right? They study us in the lab like lab rats. They know how we're going to react biologically and chemically to what they put in front of us on TV or in front of us on social media or in front of us on the billboard walking down the street or in front of us at the stoplight, and you got the big old McDonald's sign on one corner, the big old Wendy's sign on the other corner, they study us like lab rats. They know how we're going to behave chemically to certain things. Now, so with that said, a lot of people, there's pressure on us, on our very being when we walk out the house and there's stores and advertising. When we pick up our phone and there's advertising. When we watch TV and there's advertising. When we go to YouTube and there's advertising. They know that plays on our psyche, and some people feel pressured by that. They don't even know they're pressured. It's almost a subconscious thing. Some people, one of the reasons why some people maybe feel like they're hurting so much financially is because of just the inability to tell themselves no, right? The lack of discipline. Not being able to say, look, no. Yeah, I know I get all this advertisement, marketing bombarded at me every single day, especially when I'm on my phone and stuff like this. It's coming. You get ads. It's, think about it. You just think about Subway sandwich. And next thing you know, you got an ad for Subway sandwich coming through you on Facebook or Instagram or X, Twitter, whatever, right? You just thought about it. Or you had a conversation with somebody. You was at the store, the grocery store, looking at something, looking at honey buns. And now all of a sudden you scroll through your phone 2 hours later and there's an ad about honey buns coming right down your platform. There's a reason for that. Again, they are studying you. They're studying our moves. They're studying the location of our phones. They're studying how we behave. And we got to have the ability to say no. That's pressure. Being able to say no, or being able to, turn off your location, turn off your phone, and stop looking at YouTube. Stop looking at Instagram. That's pressure, right? We got to have the ability to say no. That's my warning. You got to be able to tell yourself, don't do it. Stop. One of the hardest things, I say hard, when I say one of the most important things that I had to do in order to start growing my wealth and really growing my wealth was I had to stop being a shopper or a person that browses. Because when you browse, you're apt to buy. So I don't go to malls and just look in the stores just to be looking. I don't go to Amazon and just scroll on Amazon to see what I want to buy. Because I understand the psychology and the chemical reactions that's taking place when I'm doing that, when I'm succumbing to or giving into what they want to advertise to me. You got to be very careful about that. You got to be able to tell yourself, no, wait. There should not be somebody dropping off a package at your front door from Amazon 5 times a week. And some people, look, honest, and you guys know people like this, right? Some people are addicted to shopping online. Tell me I'm not right. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Some people are addicted to online shopping. Let's keep it 100. Is it 100 or 100? We got to keep it real, right? Keep it real. Some people are addicted to shopping because they can't tell themselves no. And then they'll turn around and be hurting financially or feel like they're hurting financially because they don't have no self-control. See, that's why I tell people to do a budget, because when you do a budget, you get a chance to exercise discipline. You get a chance to exercise control. You get a chance to tell yourself no. You get yourself to be totally in control when you do a budget. If you run across a guru, a money guru who tells you don't do a budget, leave them immediately. And you can reference my name. Don't listen to somebody that tells you don't do a budget, because you need to learn how to be in control of you. You got to learn how to be in control of your spending. You got to learn how to be in control of your money. Because if you're not, and you never learn that skill, you're going to always feel like you're hurting financially. You're going to always feel out of control. You're going to always feel like, man, I can't stop shopping. I see something I wanted. I see something I wanted. A lot of people face that, and nobody talks about that. You don't see a bunch of 2 million views on a YouTube video that talks about not telling yourself no and stop being addicted to shopping and addicted to spending your money, because that won't get views on YouTube, right? It doesn't, because people don't want to face that reality of one of the reasons you're hurting financially, you feel like you're hurting financially, is because you can't control yourself. You feel like you can control yourself because in some areas you do control yourself. But when it comes to spending money, you can't. Somebody's at Amazon at your front door 5, 6, 7 days a week. That's a real problem. That's a real problem. But what do we do in America? We make sports betting legal. And gambling, no problem. Although many people suffer from gambling and betting, we tell you all sports betting, you want to bet on the Super Bowl, you want to bet on the over and under, how many points LeBron is going to score tonight, no problem, go for it. Because they don't care about you and your finances. That's why you have to care enough to not give in to the marketing, the advertising, all the stuff that's hitting your chemicals in your brain that you don't even know about. You got to learn how to put a stop to it and be in control of you, right? I'm just keeping it 100 on this, guys, keeping it real, because sometimes we get these money talks and we don't be real about it. We don't be real about money. We sugarcoat it, and we try to give you some type of easy way to feel or think about it, all so you feel good, and so you'll come back, right? But I like to break it down and be honest about it, right? Just be honest about it. Another thing is, like I said, lack of self-discipline and all that good stuff. We know there's expensive rent. We know inflation had been out of control. We know all that, right? But then there's some social pressure that makes people feel like or end up hurting financially. Social pressure. Social pressure. You got a group of friends who kick it and go to the club and buy bottles, and then buy bottles for the round of the table, however it works, because I've never done it, but I hear about it, right? But then you look at this and, wow, I want to do that. When we were little, when I lived in the hood, and when I was young, it was the guy that drives through with the big old Cadillac, woo, with the white walls and the spokes, and woo, I want to have a car like that. Nowadays, you getting that when you're scrolling on Instagram, right? Or you getting it when you go into the club or whatever it may be, right? But it's social pressure. And it's not just that. It's also, you can be living in the suburbs. 3-car garage, 3,000, 4,000 square foot home. The guy next door, he gets a nice car. You feel some pressure. Okay, man, the guy next door, he gets a new roof put on. You feel, man, when am I gonna get my new roof? It ain't just people in the hood or people that don't have money. It's people that have money that feel social pressure too. Again, we're keeping it 100. It's not just people that don't have anything. It's people that are in the middle class and upper middle class that feel social pressure to keep up with the Joneses, right? So let's not think that this feeling that I don't have enough or this feeling of people feeling like they're hurting financially is just a poor people thing. It's not. As I said, there's people that have over 100,000, make over $100,000 a year that feel pressure financially, right? And then there's also not just social pressure, but there's this one too. And I thought about it earlier. There's the lack of just general basic financial literacy that a lot of people miss and don't have. General basic financial literacy. A lot of people don't take the time to learn a little bit about money. They don't take the time. Look, it's like a car, right? Money is like a car. People drive a car every single day. Many people get in the car every single day, don't know how the car works. They don't know anything. You pop the hood, they might as well have landed in a foreign country when you pop the hood, right? They don't even know that the ignition going in is firing up something. They don't know that there's something. They don't know that the gas is coming from the back of the car where you fill it up, the tank that sits down there and is strapped up back there, right? Gas is coming from there and it's going through little bitty lines that go to the front of the car, underneath the car, little lines that go up there to help that whole engine combust and fire up, right? People don't know that little fan that's spinning around in the front of the engine is the fan that's cooling off the radiator in the front. So the car don't overheat and that fluid in the radiator can go back through the engine, right? People don't even know what a camshaft is on a car. Drive a car for 40 years and don't know what a camshaft is or what a piston ring or piston is. And you can't drive a car without, you can drive an electrical car, right? But the point is that people don't know about cars and they use them every day. People don't know about money and they use it every day. It's the same concept. Basic financial literacy is really one thing, guys, that makes you hurt financially because you are ignorant, not in a bad way or horrible way, just ignorant about money. It's not horrible. I don't mean to say ignorant in a bad way, but ignorant because you don't know about it, right? And a lot of us are ignorant about how a car works, although we use it every day, right? It just means that you don't know. And you should consider knowing, is what I'm telling you. If you're using money to buy bread every day, you want to consider knowing money a little bit. How does it work, right? Not just, how do I get more? How do I get more? How do I get more? That's only one aspect of money, getting more money, right? It's not about, okay, if you want to if you want to learn about cars and understand cars and maybe ultimately one day be well informed so you can buy a car right, you don't need to just go adding a bunch of cars to your arsenal of cars, right? You want to start learning a little bit about the cars that you already have so you understand how they work. And then when you go buy another car, you're good with cars. You understand them. With money, you don't just want to always add more money, add more money, add more money. But what if you have bad money habits? Adding more money on top of bad money habits, that's not going to help you. There's a lot of people that make $200,000 a year that are broke because they don't have any basic financial literacy. They don't know how to handle money. They don't know what to do with money to keep money. They can make a bunch of money, And that's what people do all the time. You get on these YouTube streets, so many people, they want to make more money. Show me how to get more income. But let me slow you down and show you how to handle the money you got already and give you a little bit of financial literacy so you can understand money so that when you do get more money, you're not getting new money on bad money habits. You're getting new money on good money habits. And now, 35, 40 years from now, when you're gone, somebody can be doing okay off of the money that you earned. somebody, a loved one, a grandchild, a great grandchild, because you understood money. Not just made a whole bunch of it, but you actually understood the money. That's financial literacy. And a lot of people, they hurt with money. They hurt financially because they have no financial literacy. This is how you prepare yourself today. This is how you say you start preparing yourself now. This is the warning. The warning is the gap between the haves and have-nots is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So how do you get to a point where you don't feel like you're hurting financially? But these are the reasons why so many people, these are some of the reasons why so many people feel like they're hurting financially, right? There's a lot of people also, guys, let me just kind of, by the way, smash that like button for me. Please hit the like button, right? Do me that favor. I don't know if I have any links in the description box right now, but I'll drop some in there a little bit later so you guys can have some free stuff, right? And if you're not subscribed to this channel, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We talk money on a regular basis on this channel. We talk personal finances. We talk what's going on in the U.S. in terms of the economy and handling money and what they're doing with our money that's going to affect us, right? Because we're investors. How to invest. We talk about that. ETFs, index funds, VOO, VTI, QQQ, whatever. We talk all that too. It's all about helping you be better with your money, more prepared with your money, a better steward over your personal finances. That's what we do, and that's what we talk about on a regular basis, right? So, and we talk about these things from being smart with money, not just trying to make more money, because I can sit up and do 1,000 videos telling you how to increase your income, which I have a bunch of them on here, right? How to increase your income, how to do side hustles and stuff like that, right? That's only one aspect. The other aspect, and there's many others, is managing the money well. Not just getting a bunch of money, but managing the money, right? The other aspect is helping other people with your money. The other aspect is making yourself more valuable so that you can earn more money through your gifts, right? Through your talents, right? And so there's a lot of different aspects of money. And what I try to do is I try to talk about money in a way that is going to be helpful for you long term, not just today, right? Not just today. Let me see what you guys are talking about in the chat here, guys. I appreciate you smashing the like button. Thank you so much. Let's see here. What is a snowball compounding? I'm sorry. Oh, come on now, D. Grant. Come on, get it right, man. Don't come in the chat acting a fool, because what I will do is kick you out of the chat with no problem, with no regret, no shame. I want to be able to pay my necessary bills. Good for you. Understand that, definitely. And you can get there too. Let's see, who bought houses? Who bought the side of the, I don't know what you guys are talking about there. Let's see. Shout out from Watts. You know what's famous in Watts in California, right? My man Fred G. Sanford was in Watts, right? Let's see. Invest in assets. You've already paid off your liabilities. Absolutely. Let's see. I want to pay off my mortgage. I want to hold the papers to my property. You can do it, Blue Sky. You really can do it. It's possible. I guarantee you. Let's see. People don't realize money is actually paper. Yeah, money is just paper. It's backed by our confidence in the paper itself, right? Let's see here. Thank you for smashing that. I appreciate that, Laura. Put my mortgage off 2 years. Took me 12 years. Good for you. Paid off your mortgage. No subby. Good to have you here. Thanks for subbing. Teach, right? Teach, right? How did you find out so much about money? Somebody asked that question. How did I find out? I wasn't taught money, right? I went to a regular public school like everybody else. And I just had to learn. I didn't know anything really about money when I was in my 20s. I didn't learn really about money till after I was 30 years old. Literally after 30. At the age of 30, I owed $25,000 in student loans. I owed about $10,000 on some medical bills. And I owed $15,000 on my 1996 Honda Civic stick shift. Boom. Stick shift 1996 Honda Civic, dark green, 4-door, super nice. I owed $15,000 on that in the year 2000. So I owed like 50 grand. That's what I owed. I didn't know anything about money. I didn't grow up around money, didn't grow up having money, didn't grow up in a household. I didn't grow up in a middle class household. No, I grew up poor, right? So everything I learned about money, I had to learn on my own. But listen to me closely, guys. That takes me to something that's really important, why so many people hurt financially. That's a good segue. So many people, another reason so many people hurt financially is because guess what they're doing, guys? They're waiting on somebody else to teach them about money. Newsflash, people ain't going out to teach you about anything. You got to go get what you want to go get. You got to go get it. Right? When I was 30 years old, I bought my first piece of rental property. Guess what I did? 3 or 4 months, not quite 6, 3 or 4 months before I bought that rental property. I had to learn about houses. I had never lived in a house owned by anybody I knew at 30 years old. Matter of fact, when I was 28, 29, 30 years old, I lived in an apartment. I lived in an apartment until I bought my first house at 30. I lived in an apartment. Between the ages of 22 and 30, I lived in 8 different places, from apartment on campus, 1, 2, 3, about 4 or 5 apartments after that. The point is, and I lived in a house for a few years, but the point is this. I had to, before I bought my first piece of rental property, I said, I am going to go learn about rental properties. I don't have nobody telling me. So I hooked up with a guy. His name was Wes. Wes was a handyman who had done, I got him out of the newspaper or something to do something. And I asked him, can I trail you? I didn't even know the dude. I said, can I trail you to learn a little bit about houses? And he was working on 2 or 3 big old houses. These houses are probably worth $400,000 right now. Back then, somebody had bought them for like $20,000 and was fixing them up. There was gentrification going on 24 years ago. So I trailed Wes. And guess what I told him? I said, you ain't got to pay me nothing. Don't pay me a dime. I just want to learn. And guess what? I learned. I learned how to put up drywall, how to use a fulcrum to put up ceiling. I learned how, I didn't even know that there were studs behind the drywall until I was 30 years old. I didn't know that because I wasn't in this game, excuse me, of self-learning. So I had to learn all that stuff. And I learned, okay, that's how you plumb, and that's how you run electrical. That's how you run lights. I didn't know any of that stuff, right? Okay, so that's how, boom, the window casing, the door jamb. Oh, okay, that's what a threshold is. The threshold, the transition strip, right? I didn't know any of that stuff. I had to learn it. But guess what I just said? I had to learn it. Right? Bob Vila wasn't walking through the door. And if you're old enough, you understand who Bob Vila is, right? Bob Vila, who was the host of This Old House that I watched all the time to learn, Bob Vila wasn't walking through the door for me. So people that tend to thrive financially are people that tend to understand the value of self-learning, the value of going out there and getting and learning what you need to learn and bringing it back to the camp and making it work for you. Just like you watching me right here. Right now, you're watching me and you're saying, I want to learn. You're trying to learn about money. You're doing the right thing. There's people out there that are not watching a video to learn a little bit about being, about finances, right? But you got to be a self-starter. You got to be a creator, a producer, right? You got to be a builder. If you're trying to build wealth, you got to be a builder, right? I believe that all of us, right, were built by a builder to be a builder, right? I believe that all of us was created by a creator to be a creator. That makes sense? We were built by a producer. We were produced by a producer to produce. So you got to be a builder, you got to be a creator, and you got to be a producer if you want to win with your money. That's what I believe, and that's what I help people do. Because it ain't walking through the door, right? It's not walking right through that door. And because it's not walking through that door, you got to go out that door and go get what you need. Go get the knowledge you need to get better with your money. Do the studying, right? You want to know how I learned about money? I had to do the studying, the reading, the practicing, the putting it all in work. And over the last 20 years, it's worked out. It's worked out pretty well. So that's a great question. Man, I went on a tangent about that question. I'm sorry, but I had to go. Had a lot to say about that. Let's see. How did you make it big on YouTube? Somebody said, I just kept plugging, believed in what I was doing, believed in what I was saying, and kept plugging. I made 300 plus videos before I earned a dime, before I was even monetized on YouTube. 300 plus videos, maybe 50 lives before I was even monetized on YouTube. And once I got monetized on YouTube, like I just kept rolling, kept going. My first 5 or 6 months, I only made 100 something bucks on YouTube, right? But then the subs kept coming and coming and coming, because here's the deal. When you talk about something that everybody talks about, like money, how are you unique, right? If you talk about basketball on YouTube, millions of people talk about basketball on YouTube. What separates you? What makes you stand out, right? Money is a topic that everybody talks about, but most people don't hit the topics or the pieces or the corners of money that I talk about, right? So, and then not to mention this, guys, you gotta just be yourself on YouTube. Look, I can put on a suit and a tie and all that good stuff, right? I've been a very professional person for a lot of years, right? I've had my share of suit and ties and boardrooms and sitting on boards. I've sat on boards, big boards, large boards, boards that you've heard about, even though you live in California and I live in the Midwest. You've heard about some of the boards that I've sat on, because these are large boards, right? But I'm more comfortable with a ball cap on and a regular old shirt. I'm past the point of coming on here with a suit and tie. You just be yourself when you start a YouTube channel. You'll go a lot further, right? Somebody said, do an Irish accent. What are you talking about? I don't do Irish accents. Let's see. Somebody said, number one advice on investing. My number one advice on investing is don't panic and don't be scared of the stock market. Scared of the stock market will cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Trust me, it'll cost you if you're scared, if you're in fear. Take some risk and don't panic. When everybody else is panic, you chill and invest, right? Buy low, sell high. Don't panic. That's my number one advice when it comes to that, to investing, all right? Guys, I got a bunch of other ones, though. Let's see. I don't feel I'll ever become a millionaire without gambling. Mike Hunt, you need a plan, my brother. You need a plan. You can become a millionaire without gambling. I don't gamble, and it worked for me. And anything that worked for me, Mike, you can do it too. Think like that, and it'll happen for you. But you don't need to gamble. I'm not a gambler at all. Let's see here. So true. I got teachers at my job, broke and sad. Yes, absolutely. It's just knowing a lot of times how things work. Buy yourself a rental property, start renting. Absolutely. I love real estate, guys. Real estate is good for you. Nothing wrong with real estate. Just got to buy it right. I got a bunch of videos on here talking about real estate. But, you know, when you do these certain things that you guys are mentioning, buy the real estate, invest money, you don't feel like you're hurting so much financially when you start making good financial decisions, because, again, there's that element of control. Because a lot of times people are going to feel anxiety, stress. People are going to feel like they're hurting when they feel like they're out of control. It's like, okay, I always make this analogy, but I'll do this. When you walk into a room that has stuff all over the place, for some people who are, like to be very neat, for a lot of people, that represents stress. When you see, clothes hanging over here, shoes thrown over here, bed not made up, everything, and then there's a bunch of cluttered stuff in the middle of the room. For a lot of people, that represents stress. Think about your money the same way. When you walk into your money, your budget every 2 weeks, and it's all over the place, things are haphazard, there's no set, way you're going to do things, and you're not quite sure, everything's bundled up over here, and things are all over the place, and you don't have any control, that just adds to stress. It adds to anxiety, right? And it adds to you feeling like you're hurting financially. But you can clean all that up. Just like I used to watch the show called Hoarders, right? When you watch Hoarders, it's like, man, how do they live in a place that you can barely move in, and there's dust and there's cat urine and everything all over the place. But when they clean that room up, what happens? You can breathe again. You feel like there's more room in the room when it's all cleaned up, right? You don't feel it's like there's so much anxiety and stress, because sometimes what happens with a lot of us is we cause our own stress with money, right? Money is it's a psychological thing. We cause, just like a hoarder causes stress. They bring stress on sometimes because of sometimes there's an external stressful situation that may have happened, or sometimes buying all the stuff adds to the stress that they have, and it's like a self defeating mechanism. The same thing happens with our money. Our money is kind of haphazard all over the place. We're scared to look at it, because if we look at it, we have to address it and change it and fix it, right? Just like the person that hoards, they are scared to walk in the room because they know they got stuff all over in the room, so they avoid that room, but yet and still that room gets piled up with stuff and stuff and stuff. Our money is the same way. Money is a psychological thing, right? When we don't have control over our money, we feel stress. When we don't have control over our personal finances, we feel anxiety, right? And for some of us, we live in that anxiety. We're comfortable in that anxiety. So, and we never want to face the reality. And so we stay away from, we have fear when it comes to actually looking at our money on paper. Some people don't want to do a net worth statement because they don't want to face it. They don't want to admit to it. They're going to feel shame about it. Same thing happens with that room that the hoarder is in. They don't want to open that door because it's going to bring shame. I'm just giving you guys some psychology about how money works. But listen, you can change all that, but you have to start approaching your money in a way that starts here, as opposed to saying, how can I get on the YouTube and find out how to make more money? How can I increase my income? I need more money. I need more money. No, slow down. What you need is to be in control of the money you already make. What you need is to properly manage what you already make so you can relieve some stress, so you can relieve, you guys, there's so many people that I talk to that they make a lot of money. They bring home $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month, but they feel stressed. They still feel stressed. See, for most of you, yeah, it'd be nice to add a little extra income, right? But for a lot of people, we just got to figure out, what are we doing with the money we already got? How are we handling the money we already make, right? What are we doing, right? So that's a great question. I kind of went off on a tangent there, guys. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'll get a little passionate about this stuff because I'm really into trying to help people, right? Man, I got some bad sun right there. I don't think you can barely see me right there. So I get a little passionate about this stuff, guys, because I want to help as many people as possible. Maybe I need to let this down real quick. Hold up, I got a blind right here. Does that help? That helps a little bit. That don't help. I'm tripping. Let me step back. All right, so let's see here. I appreciate you, Salai or Salih. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name. Let's see here. I know you talk about stocks a few times for a beginner like myself. What do you suggest? Also, I need a mentor. Hey, I offer one-on-one financial mentoring and coaching. I do offer that for folks just to help people out, right? Because personal finance is personal, and sometimes your personal situation, it don't fit everything, right? Money is not cookie cutter all the time. I realize that. So I do offer personal financial mentoring and coaching. I'll have a link to that in the description box. It might already be there. But what do I suggest if you're a brand new investor? If you're a brand new investor, I suggest you look at ETFs and index funds. That's what I suggest. ETFs and index funds is what you should be looking at. Broad-based ETFs and broad-based index funds. A great one is the S&P 500. That's an index fund or an ETF. Think about buying that. Check out several platforms and figure out which one you're most comfortable with. Check out Charles Schwab. Go on their website, see if you like them. Go to Vanguard, see if you like them. Go to Fidelity, see if you like them. Go to Interactive Brokers, wherever you want to go. Go to JP Morgan, JP Chase. Go wherever you want on the internet where you feel comfortable, and you feel like it's a reputable place, and you can, I'm not a big Robinhood or on my app on my phone type of investing, but if you want to do that, that's fine too. I just prefer to go to some of the big boys when I want to invest, thousands and thousands and 30 and 40 and $50,000, right? So go there, figure out which website, which platform you feel comfortable with, and look at some of the broad-based or S&P 500 index funds or ETFs that they offer, and start learning, start reading. Go on Amazon, get you a book, Stock Market 101, so you can start learning about stocks, index funds, ETFs 101. Anything by Jack Bogle, Bogle. One of his books will give you a good start to invest in your money if you're brand new. That was a great question. Thanks for asking that. Vanden Van, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, brother. Vanden said, thanks for your great information. Been stressed out, but enjoy your content. Hey, join this, become an advanced member of this channel. If you become an advanced member of this channel, I have a conversation with you for 20 minutes every single month, right? It's like $25, $24.99 or something to be an advanced member of this channel, and I can sit down with you and have conversations. Listen, I did that for free for 2 years, but nobody on the internet is going to do that really for $25. But I don't mind doing it because I don't mind helping you out. So thanks for that super chat, Ben, and I really appreciate you doing that. Let's see, can you build wealth with debt? If it's debt on appreciating items like real estate, yes. Let's see here. Suing companies is more of an investment than the stock market, but hey, that's just me. Suing companies. How do you keep your energy up? I'm in my 40s, and some days I feel like I'm running out of gas. I walk every day. If I turn this camera around, you look outside, I got weights on my patio back here. I lift weights. I walk every day. I try to keep my cardio up. I eat right. I don't eat perfect, right? I do like my cookies and things like that, but I'm careful about that. But I do have my sea moss. I do have my elderberry. I do have, I eat lots of salads and things like that. I don't eat a lot of fried foods and don't eat very much. I like French fries though. So sometimes I'll stop and get some fries from a fast food place, just being honest with you, keeping it 100. But, energy wise, man, I would say exercise, stretch, and get out the house and do a bunch of things, right? Get outdoors, walk in nature. That's really big for me. Let's see. I'm just looking at some chats now. Somebody said, I buy vacant land and use and sell it at market value. That's pretty sweet too. I like that. How do you mentor your students? I don't really call them students. I just call them folks. But believe it or not, guys, I used to be a teacher. So I guess if you want to call it students, I guess I'm still teaching to an extent, right? But a lot of ways. If we did a one-on-one, guys, we'd do a Zoom call and we would actually share screens, and I like to put people's situation on paper, because when they see it on paper, it looks different, right? Budgets, whatever. But I help you with it, whatever area you want help with, okay? I don't have a prescribed set of things. I help you however you need or want the help, right? If you say, I base it on what you want, what you need, or what you're looking for, right? First question I will ask you if I'm doing a one-on-one with you is, what do you hope to get out of this one-on-one? What do you want to achieve? What do you want me to help you with? Because there's so many things, and fortunately or unfortunately, I've done a whole lot of things in my life, right? A whole lot of things. So I can help in a lot of different areas with folks, right? So let's see here. Somebody said, yes, I've watched that before. Let's see. I'm just trying to run through the chats, guys. No is the best way to discipline your kids and yourself. I'm with you on that. I agree. You can get rich through the stock market without real estate. Yes, absolutely. You can do that. I agree. Randomly scrolling through, you got me intrigued. Good to have you here, brother or sister. I can't tell. Can't tell by your name either. I can barely see, right? So yeah, I appreciate you being here though. Thank you for being here. Come on, let's do a one-on-one, man. Let me help you with your personal finances and help you with your life in general. Because a lot of times when we feel bad about our money, we feel bad about our life. Men are really big on that, guys, and I can dig into that a little bit. But men are really big on that, money wise. A lot of times in our society in America, a man with no money is a depressed man, and a man with no plan is a depressed man in the future. So I like to help people set up plans. Men, women, doesn't matter, but help people set up a plan for their life, a plan for their personal finances. And then it's up to you to be disciplined enough to stay with it, right? Because listen, you can, what's it saying? You can walk a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I can do everything in my power to help you financially, but if you don't want help, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. I can only give you what I can give you. Somebody said, build an emergency fund, plan your work, work your plan, pay yourself 25%. Woo, that's nice. Pay yourself 25%. I like that. Let's see here. Good choice, SPY. Sun is beautiful out here today. That's why I'm about to get out there and do a walk right now. Yeah, I was a teacher for a long time, not a long time, 7 years, but I taught youth sports for 13 years. But I was a school teacher. I taught 7th grade social studies, 7th grade geography for a lot of years. I love maps and stuff. That's why when you guys come into any of my lives, I always ask you, where are you from? You from Brazil? Wow, that's cool. You from South Africa? Wow, that's cool. You from Japan? Great. You from London? Because I like to know where people are from all throughout the world, because I want different perspectives. I understand that this is America, but guess what? There's a lot of wisdom all over the world. A lot of wisdom, a lot of smart people everywhere, not just America, right? I really believe that. Emergency fund number 1, 6 months worth of expenses minimum. Let's see. So yeah, guys, basically why so many people are hurting, just to kind of do full circle on the topic. There's a lot of reasons. Cost of living, rents is way up, all that good stuff, right? And then I've talked about a little bit about the systemic stuff, right? Racism, ageism, sexism, all those isms, they out there. My head is not buried in the sand. They're out there. And they affect people at a systemic level that is hard to see. But at the same time, ain't nobody stopping you from reading a book. Ain't nobody stopping you from managing your money better. There's no racism or there's no sexism stopping you from being a wise steward over your personal finances. See, you can't let the isms stop you from getting all that you got to get out of this life. You cannot let the isms act as a deterrent for you. I'm black in America, but guess what? I'm successful in America too. Two things can be true at one time. Yeah, racism exists, but yeah, I'm responsible for my actions and my personal actions at the same time. So I don't let the isms hold me back. And trust me when I say I know the isms. I know the isms really, really well. I studied the Ivan Van Sertima's. I studied the Dr. Benz. I can go on and on from Kwanzaa Kunjufu to you name it. I know more about the history of African American people and what's happened on Africa, from the west coast of Africa, in the diaspora. I know more about it than most people. But guess what? That don't stop me from achieving with my personal finances. It can't stop me from achieving with my personal finances. That didn't stop me from becoming a millionaire in America, because becoming a millionaire in America was about me personally, not what somebody else was doing to hold me back. They can try all they want, but they can't hold me back. Even though I'm black, you got to tell yourself that even though you're a woman, they can't hold you back. Just because they're going to pay you a little less than they pay men, don't let that hold you back. You have to change. Listen, whatever the game is, the best coaches in any sport, baseball, basketball, football, soccer, the best coaches of any sport is the coach that knows how to adjust in the middle of the game. That's the best coach. If you can learn to adjust in the middle of the game, you're going to win a lot, because you understand the flow of the game and what's happening in the game and what the referees are allowing and how the other team is playing. When you understand all that and you're able to shift in the middle, you can win. This is why I tell you that. The game is out there. Racism, sexism, all that stuff. We know that stuff exists, right? But guess what? In the middle of the game, when I was 30 years old, I shifted. And I learned how to win at the game, even though all that stuff exists. And that's why I'm telling you, you cannot let those things stop you from winning with your money. You can't make those things make you hurt financially. That's why I said, if you live in a city near downtown Manhattan, near downtown Seattle, downtown San Francisco, if you live in a city that's expensive, move if you can't afford it. People have been moving and migrating and immigrating for thousands of years. You got to learn how to say, okay, I can't afford to pay $3,000 a month. Let me move 30 minutes away in a suburb, or let me move to another city so I can afford to pay rent. But you got to shift in the middle of the game. The game just changed because the rent was $900 4 years ago. Now the rent is $1,500. The game just shifted. And so you got to be a good coach over you, a good coach over your personal finances, and say, you know what? The game shifted. How am I going to adjust? Am I going to sit around and complain and not make it? I'm going to adjust too, right? The game made a shift in the rents. So now I'm going to make a shift and I'm going to move out of Seattle. You got to play the game and make adjustments in the middle of the game, whatever that game is. I made adjustments. I was poor. I was very, very poor, right? I had a negative net worth to my name till I was 30 years old. I had to shift. I had to be like Phil Jackson, a great coach, and shift in the middle of the game and start playing the game differently in order to win with the game. I couldn't keep doing what I was doing when I was 24, 25, 26. I wouldn't be in front of you if I did. I would be complaining about and barely making it and, paycheck to paycheck. But I had to change the game, and I changed the game, right? Because I'm the one that's in control of my personal finances. Right? There's not a racist I know that controls what I do with my money. There's not a sexist or somebody that doesn't like a certain gender that I know that controls my money. I control my money. You control your money. And if you don't believe you control your money, you've lost half the battle. You've lost the game already. Imagine the coach who goes into halftime and says, you know what? We can't win. Down by 10 points. Go into halftime, talk to the team in the locker room. You know what? We can't win. It's raining outside and it's cold outside. The other team is having a good game. They're shooting the ball well. The fans are all on their side. What coach would do that? Because he's already lost the game if that's how he thinks about the game midway through the game. But the coach, you, should go in the locker room called your home, wherever you got to go, and you got to say, look, okay, that's what's happening out there. That's what's happening out there. It's cold. The fans are against us, but guess what? We about to make this thing happen. How are we going to make this thing happen? Here, I thought about some things. Let's switch up the defense. We're going to put you over here and you over here. Then we're going to throw a 2-3 trap at them as soon as they come over half court, and then we're going to push the pace on offense, whatever it may be. See, the best coach makes adjustments, and you have to be your own best coach, and you got to make adjustments. That's the only way you win with money. You can't sit around and mope about how you're hurting financially. You got to prepare yourself so you don't end up in the have-nots. Whew, y'all got me preaching. Man. Trying to fix this up because I got a lot of sun in my eyes. But man, let me see if this works. That don't work. This is the one over here. Hold up. Maybe that's it. Oh, that didn't help. We got a lot of stripes. So listen, guys, I'm not going to hold you on this live, guys. I appreciate you being here more than you think. Let me just look through the chat real quick, give a couple of shout outs. Who wants to be shout out in the chats? Can you say, hi, Rachel, it's my birthday and I will make a better steward with my money. Make a better day. Hey, Rachel, shout out to you. Happy birthday to you. Do something fun with yourself today and enjoy your day. Don't forget personal responsibility extends to your voting habits. Of course, absolutely. Good point. Let's see here. Lighting looks good. Yeah, I can't really tell. To me, it looks like I got like blinds all over my face. But maybe if I scoot it back and I stay right here, I don't know. But you guys tell me. But I just wanted to give you guys something to think about in terms of money, man. Let's see. I appreciate you guys being here. We talked about a lot, but that's my warning to you, right? That's why so many people are hurting financially. And I want you guys to be at the point where, you know what? You are prepared, right? You're prepared for what's going to take place. And listen, it's, what is it, March? You also got to prepare yourself financially for the things that you know what's going to happen this year. What month is March? I mean, what month is Christmas? Christmas is in December, right? So you know Christmas is coming. Prepare for Christmas today, right? But you know there's a birthday in September. Prepare for the birthday right now. Just be ready, guys. I want to see you win with money. I really do. And the way you win with money is to think about the things. If you got here late, rewind this thing to the beginning. I dropped a lot of jewels about what's happening in terms of why people are hurting financially and how to prepare yourself. It's my warning to you, right? What is his name? Phil Smith. What's the coach of the Bulls? I almost said Phil Collins, but what is Phil's last name? Coached the Bulls back in the 90s. Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson is not walking through that door, guys. So we have to be the coach of our own personal finances. And the way we coach our personal finances is take to heart the things that I said on this video. Start thinking about how you can prepare, how you can get better with your money. And if you got a comment, leave a comment. When I do lives, I love to read the comments and I love to actually answer any questions that you guys have. So don't forget, in the description box, there's going to be a link to Mint Mobile. I'm all about saving money, right? Being a little more frugal and knocking some money off of your what you pay every month. So one of the things that I did recently in the last several months is I went ahead and got Mint Mobile. And Mint Mobile has been tremendous for me in terms of customer service, in terms of, you know, their contact rep that I deal with. They've been tremendous, and I like to push them and tell people about them and just partner with them on my videos. Mint Mobile, they use the world's largest 5G network, and they're very, very reliable premium wireless services. And you might have seen some of the commercials recently, but I don't partner with a lot of people on this channel. And I get a lot of people that want to partner with me almost every day. I get several emails of people that say, how can we partner with you? What can we do? We want to do a partnership agreement? I turn 90%, 95% of them down. So I'll do STREAMYARD only because I've used STREAMYARD. I'll do ConvertKit because I've used ConvertKit. I'll do Mint Mobile because I use Mint Mobile. I only will become a partner with brands that I believe in and are reputable and I've used. So that's why I partner with Mint Mobile on these videos, because they're super solid and I've enjoyed my experience with them. And you don't have to still pay what you paid 10 years ago for your wireless service, your premium wireless service, guys. Things have changed, right? I talk about that. Check out my latest video where I talk about 10 mistakes that people over 40 tend to make often with their money. And in that video, I talk about we keep these plans around, these insurance plans, things for years and years and years, when we should be paying cheaper. We should be paying a lot less, right? So that's one thing to think about. If you're looking for a good mobile company, consider consider clicking on the link in the description box of this video. Mint Mobile is real solid. If they're not solid, come back and let me know and I'll beat them up for you. Just kidding. Let's see here. So I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to end it. We've been on here for an hour and 15 minutes. I told myself this is going to be a 30-minute video. It's an hour-long video. But guess what? It was important. We talked about a lot of really important, crucial things, guys. I want you to win with money. As I always say, guys, before the end of every video, check out some other videos that are in the description box. I got some good ones. Just put one out today that I think you'll like, about the 10 mistakes to avoid if you're over 40. And hey, I always say this. I appreciate you guys more than you know. This channel has grown so much you guys wouldn't believe it. In the year a year ago, 2023, this channel took off, and it wouldn't have taken off if it wasn't for you guys and your support. So I I can't even begin to tell you how appreciative and grateful I am for you guys who have joined me on this journey and who support this channel and who jump into these lives and have some really positive things to say. Sometimes we get some clowns in the chat, but for the most part, we got some super intelligent people. If you really want to learn from this video, just check back through the chat. There's some people that are giving you some great information, and so I appreciate my community here on YouTube, because you guys, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, right? I'd be doing something different with my Sunday, right? But I'm here to help new people. I'm here to help you guys answer your question and do what I can to just give back to the people. I've gained a lot of knowledge over the years, and I don't want to hold on to it. I want to share it. And one of the best ways I found to share it is not just through the one-on-ones that you got to pay for, but just these free videos. So do me a favor. If you like this video, hit the like button and share it. The best way to support this channel is not to buy my course. I don't have a course. The best way to support the channel is to share the video with someone else, so somebody else can partake in the good stuff that we're sharing over here, guys. So I appreciate you. Listen, the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Do me a favor. Take good care of you, because you're people too. But also, take care of other people. Until the next video, the next live. Peace.